Yes. Hare Krishna. So last class we learned about the 5th chapter, and today we will learn about the 6th chapter. Okay. So I'll just share my screen. Is my voice okay? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
It's fine, no?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay then. If my voice gets weaker or something, if I disconnect, please let me know. Okay.
Yeah, sure, Mataji.
Okay. So all of them can see the screen now. Okay. So today's chapter is Dhyana Yoga, the 6th chapter. Okay. Let's start with the prayers. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna everyone. So let's go back to the chapter now. So last class we learned about the 5th chapter. I think so all of them, hope I remember, you all remember the 5th chapter, and today is the 6th chapter about Dhyana Yoga. Okay, so let's all take the blessings of Shri Shri Radha Govinda and start our class, today's class. So we did the Mangalacharan. So okay, today we are going to study about the yoga, Dhyana Yoga chapter. So today we will do the first 3 sections of the chapter. Okay, I think so one. Somewhere it is missed. Okay, first 3 sections of the chapter. So first section, it speaks about advancing in the yoga through detached work. Okay, second chapter, it's second section of this chapter, it speaks about the yoga ruda stage, giving up of the work. And the third section speaks about further stages in the practice of yoga. The fourth, necessity of controlling the turbulent mind, the destination of the unsuccessful yogi, and the topmost yogi. So who is the topmost yogi, we will come to know in the end of this chapter, that is we will do it tomorrow. Okay, so the first 3 section we will take it today, and the next 3 section we will take it tomorrow. Is that okay? So now let's go to the first section. Okay, before that I'll just ask a question to all of you. You can raise your hand, and co-host can unmute them. Okay, so what is Nishkama Karma Yoga? Last class we learned about Nishkama Karma Yoga. So anybody can tell me what is Nishkama Karma Yoga?
Hare Krishna Naga Kumari Mataji. Please unmute yourself.
So Nishkam Karma Yoga states like whatever activities we are trying to do, we should not be worrying about what would be the result. So free from the result. Hare Krishna.
Vijay Mataji, please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna. Nishkam Karma Yoga is the activity done, but the result given to the God.
Yes. Vijay Mataji, can you tell again? I'm just
Vijay Mataji, please raise your hand. Okay. Yeah, you can unmute. You can unmute.
Activity done, but the results given to the God.
Yes. So doing the activity without the attachment to the fruitive action reactions from that, right? Yes, correct. So Nishkama Karma Yoga means doing the activity, but the result of that activity, you are not attached to the result of that activity. So that is Nishkama Karma Yoga. So first section, advancing in yoga through detached work. Okay, Astanga yogis like Nishkama Karma yogis engage in detached work to advance. So let's understand. Last time we discussed about
Hare Krishna Mataji. I just wanted to say one point that, hello? While speaking about Nishkama Karma Yoga, I only wanted to say that one has to do one's work without through detachment and should be engaged in the word in devotional service. I just wanted to add that word, Mataji, devotional service, which is what we have been learning.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Sorry, I got disconnected in the middle. I'm sorry. Yeah. So yeah, who are the three doers?
Please raise your hands for the answer. Yes. Hare Krishna Vijay Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The living entity, the jiva, the three modes of material nature, the sattva, rajogun, and tamogun, and super soul.
Yes. The three doers are, one is Jiva, the second is the three modes of material nature, and the fourth is the super soul, right? We discussed about this in the last class. Yeah. Detachment comes to one who realizes that he is not autonomous in this action. He understands that without Lord's sanction, he cannot do anything. Though super soul verifies and sanctions based on. So last class we discussed about this now. The three doers, who are the three doers? So a person who knows what is detachment, he knows that he is not only the doer. He knows that somebody who is superior to him, he is giving the sanction to it, right? Here we can understand that it is not that you're detaching from the material world. It cannot be just detaching from the material world. Here you have to get, so Prabhupada says that detaching from the material world and attaching to Krishna goes hand in hand. You cannot just detach from material world and do not do your duty at all. So it cannot be done, especially in this age of Kali Yuga. It's not at all recommended, right? So so what is yoga according to you? So let's understand this thing. Okay, one who purifies his vision and activity by Nishkama Karma Yoga can make further advancement by practice of meditation on the super soul by Astanga Yoga method. So here Astanga Yoga method is described in the 6th chapter. Okay, last class he explained about the super soul, and now Krishna is further explaining about the Astanga Yoga, how one can see the super soul. So here here Astanga Yoga is there. So what do you mean by yoga? Can I know what does yoga mean? Because many of them, they think something yoga, many of them in this modern age, it's just kind of a gymnastic which we do, right? Many of the people we see outside, what is yoga? It's a gymnastic kind of a thing. You are moving your hand, leg, and everything, and doing some yoga. In the we celebrate this yoga day also without knowing what is yoga. Okay, so yoga is nothing but the connection to the Lord. Okay, so there is terms in Hindi, right? If you know Hindi, there is certain terms, not in just in Hindi, but also in Sanskrit, in any other languages. We use this term, Viyog, Sanyog. So yog, what does that mean? It's just connection. Okay, that connection is said as yoga here. And what Astanga Yoga refers here is connecting to the Lord through Astanga Yoga, kind of a like doing Astanga Yoga and connecting to the Lord. So many a times we go to these places, right? The yoga centers, so-called yoga centers of this modern age. They just tell us some breathing practices and some if you do this kind of a yoga, you will get rid of this kind of a pain or disease, right? Most of the things they just explain us for the material gain. When we had yoga classes in the colleges, schools, and everything, it is merely kind of an exercise, and we used to get so bored in that class. And some of them, when they do pranayama, no, that practice, and some of them they meditate on something, and we just used to meditate, close our eyes, and sometimes we used to meditate and we just go to sleep, and some of them snore. So that is what yoga in this modern age is all about. One second. I'm sorry, some disturbance. I'm sorry. So, what is yoga? Yoga means some connection, right? Actual meaning of yoga is connection. So here, last class we discussed about super soul. Now Krishna is further explaining about how to connect to the super soul. Okay, by meditating on the super soul, one can develop devotion to him in bhakti yoga, understanding that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, ultimate controller, and the best friend. Which shloka is this? All this is saying about which shloka? Supreme enjoyer, ultimate controller, and best friend. So we learned about this last Sunday we learned about this. Which shloka is this? If anybody can understand, or else I'll tell that. Okay, Vijaya Mataji. Only Vijaya Mataji is giving some answers. What about others?
Bhoktaram yag tapsam.
Yes.
Sarvalok Maheshwaram Suhurdam Sarvabhutanam Jatva Mam Shanti Muchati.
Exactly. Yes, correct. It's 5.29. Okay. Bhoktaram yagna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam nyatpamam shantim richati. So one who understands that this is actually the peace philosophy. Many of them ask, what is the peace? Where is the peace in this material world? In this world, right? War is happening, that is happening, this is happening. Where is the peace? So here is the peace formula Krishna gave in the 5th chapter, 29th shloka. Bhoktaram yagna tapasam. Whatever endure, whatever austerity you're doing to satisfy, it is actually satisfying me. Okay, I'm the supreme enjoyer. Why are you doing all these things? So that I should be pleased. Krishna says this. And then ultimate controller and the best friend. Muktaram Yagnatasam, Sarva Loka Maheshwara. I am the ultimate controller. Suhrudam Sarvabhuta. I am the best friend, well-wisher of everybody. And if these three are known to the people, whoever is a devotee, he will be peace in all the situations. Okay, this is the last shloka which was explained in the 5th chapter. So now let's go for the connection between the 5th chapter and the 6th chapter. So what is the connection between the 5th chapter and the 6th chapter? It is that knowledge So initially, we understood through jnana. We got some jnana and we understood. And when we got the jnana, when we got the knowledge, we understood that we are not this body. So we are detached from the material concept. And then we got jnana yoga. After we understood this, we got the jnana, and through that the consciousness increased, and through that we understood that there is somebody called as super soul. Okay, now in the 6th chapter, let's understand this. Before practicing advanced stage of Astanga Yoga, one must be purified by the practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga. Therefore, Lord glorifies Nishkama Karma Yoga in the first 2 verses. Okay, 6.1 and 6.2, Lord is actually glorifying the Nishkama Karma Yoga, because in the 5th chapter also Lord said about Nishkama Karma Yoga. And here in the first shloka, he says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Anashrita karma phalam karmyam karma karoti yaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na nir na chakriyaha. Okay, so what does the Supreme Lord say? The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of the work and who works as he is obliged in is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. Okay, in the first shloka, your Lord explains about a person who is in this process, he is unattached from the fruits of work, so which is Nishkama Karma Yoga. And then one who works as he is obliged in the renounced order of life. So devotees, normally we see devotees, most of them are grahastha. In ISKCON, most of them, 90% people are grahasthas. Somewhere we get brahmacharis and sannyasis. Brahmacharis are there, they are called grahastha brahmacharis. Okay, they are leading the grahastha life in a brahmachari principle, or in a regulated way. So here the devotee, he may work from 9 to 5 in an office, or he may work as a grahastha, but inside he is detached from that, the fruit of that work, or from inside he does not care about what he is working, he only cares how to satisfy Krishna. But from outside he is like, uh, a kind of a grahastha, he's working, and then he is earning money and everything, but from inside he is not attached to that work, or that fruit of that work. Okay, so in 6.2, Lord continues that what is called renunciation you should know to be the same as yoga, or link oneself with the Supreme. So yoga means link oneself with the Supreme. O son of Pandu, for one can never become yogi unless he renounces the desires of the sense gratification. So what is sense gratification? Eating, mating, sleeping, and defending is sense gratification. So normally animals, they do these things. They eat, eating, mating, sleeping, and defense, right? So if a person, if a human, he does only these 4 things, he is in the animal consciousness and he is working for sense gratification. Most of the 90% people in this age, or if you see outside, in outside world, if you see, most of the people, richest of the richest people, they are doing only for the sense gratification. Either they are doing this for to get luxury things or something, it is sense gratification. So you cannot say I will do yoga and also do sense gratification. Krishna says it cannot be done. When you renounce, then only you can become the yogi, right? So either you have to be in this material world, or either you have to your consciousness to be in this material world, or your consciousness to be liberated from this material world. In the sense, you should either renounce the work, renounce the renounce the fruit of the work, or either you should be in the sense gratification. You cannot be in two at one time, right? So in this in the outside world, we see these four things: eating, mating, sleeping, and defending, in different ways. Some are doing in a very luxurious way. They think that is success, right? If I get a nice wife, if I get nice children, if I get nice luxurious food to eat, and if I get a peaceful sleep, or and everybody is fear, and because of that defense also, right? Even animals do this, and animals do in a very much greater way, right? When animals are eating, they do not think of what will happen tomorrow, because they are eating. Just their conscious their whole concentration is on eating only. But when humans are eating, they think about, what will happen tomorrow, or what will I cook tomorrow, or if I have exam tomorrow, what will happen. So even animals do it in a very greater way than humans. So what is the consciousness to be in a human? It's not just eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. It should be furthermore. So from the animal consciousness, we should raise up. And this is sense gratification. And a person who has sense gratification and he wants to become yogis, right? It is not possible. In this, we can see many of them, they go to yoga class, they do yoga, and then come back to home and do some sense gratification things. They are not yogis at all, right? So both led to the renunciation of sense gratification. So first stage is that you should not be attached to the sense gratification. So both bhakti yoga, which is in this it is called as Nishkama Karma Yoga, bhakti yoga, and Ashtanga Yoga, they both are towards the renunciation of sense gratification. So bhakti yoga, to become attached to Krishna and work for him, thus controlling the minds and senses. To give up attachment to the fruits of work, control the senses, focus on the mind within. Okay, both are doing the same thing, that is renouncing from the sense gratification. But here the thing is, they are attached to Krishna. Here they just give up the attachment from the fruit of work. But here the devotee offers the fruit of work to Krishna. That means he is completely surrendered to Krishna and he is attached to Krishna. Thus he controls his mind and senses. Okay, both are controlling mind and senses only here. So here arurukshor muner yogam karma karanamuchyate yogarudhasya tasyaiva shama karmanam uchyate. So what is this? For one who is the neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the mean, and for one who is already elevated in the yoga session of the material activity is led to be the means. So here there are two terms here, the arurukshor and yoga rudasya. So yoga ruruksha and the yoga ruda, these two terms are there. So in the initial stage, it's very difficult to control the mind and senses and renounce from the activities, because we all are working somewhere. Our yoga is bhakti yoga is somewhere karma mishrita yoga or jnana mishrita yoga, jnana mishrita bhakti yoga and karma mishrita bhakti yoga. Somewhere we are doing bhakti yoga, but we cannot completely renounce everything, right? That's why we should be engaged in the devotional service. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when having renounced all the material desires, nor neither acts of sense gratification nor engages in the fruitive activities. So the process of linking oneself with the Supreme is called yoga, which may be compared to the ladder for the attaining the topmost spiritual realization. This ladder begins from the lowest material condition of the living entity and raises up to the perfect self-realization in the pure spiritual life. So this is from the purport of 6.3. Here, Prabhupada explains about the yoga ladder. So let's see what is yoga ladder here. Okay, first is karma kanda. So we last class also we saw from how this is coming, right? from the animalistic life, and then from karma kanda, then sakama karma, or then from nishkama karma. So now furthermore, let's see the karma kanda here. So he is working, he is doing karma, he is working, but what? For some benefit, some fruitive activities. He wants, most of them do yagnas and tapa for some, they want something in return, right? They want something in return. Maybe they want to go for heavenly planets and everything. So that is karma kanda, you want something. And next, nishkama karma, here the devotees, it is karma yoga. So here the devotees, they don't want anything, just renouncing from the fruits of action, and they are trying to renounce from the fruits of action. When you are doing this, you get jnana, renouncing the fruits plus speculative knowledge of about Brahman and austerity. You're doing sadhana on the part of that. And then Astanga Yoga, now your sadhana is getting little more advanced. Now you're trying to control the mind and senses by eightfold path and meditation on Paramatma, super soul within the heart. Okay. Next is ultimately the Bhakti Yoga, loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord, Sri Bhagavan, Sri Krishna. Okay, so from Karma Kanda to Nishkama Karma, one has to come to Nishkama Karma, and then to Jnana Yoga, Astanga Yoga, and then to Bhakti Yoga. So how many of you are prepared to do Astanga Yoga now? Then how to go to Bhakti Yoga directly? There is one shortcut, na? Prabhupada gave us, everybody. We need not do all these things. Because our lifespan is however small, very short lifespan we are having, and Ashtanga Yoga we cannot succeed in one lifetime. It's not possible at all. You must take many of the paths, and we don't have that much of time. And what is the shortcut from Karma Yoga to Bhakti Yoga? How can we go? We are doing, everybody, Karma Kanda, we are doing all kind of ritual activities now from the animalistic life. We have just come for Karma Kanda. How can we go for Bhakti Yoga directly without following all these middle ladders? Naga Kumari Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Naga Kumari Mataji. Please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So by doing the devotional service and chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we can reach the Bhakti.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
So it's a very easy method, na? It's direct lift. We did not go to ladder step by step. It's direct lift, which we had got by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, right? By Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Directly from here, we can jump to Bhakti Yoga. From the process itself, it gets purified, right? So directly by chanting, we can go to the spiritual abode, right? In the Goloka chart, if you have seen, there is a small thread-like structure. It is going to Goloka. From the material, from the earth, it is going to Goloka. That is, if you clearly see, it's Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It is written in such a form that it is like a thread which is connecting to Golok Vrindavana. Means just by chanting and doing devotional service to the Lord, we can go to the we can do devotional service to the Lord. Okay, now the next section, it is 6.5 to 6.9. So in the last sloka we learned two terms, right? Yoga Ruruksha and Yoga Ruda. So now Yoga Ruda, giving up of work. A yogi may even give up Nishkama Karma Yoga when his mental control reaches the stage of regarding well-wishers, the envious, the pious, and sinner equally. So Yoga Rudhasya, the term comes, right? Okay, so now let's understand what is Yoga Rudha. So before that, let's understand what is Yoga Ruruksha. Okay, and the comparison is given here, or we can tell it's a meaning kind of a thing. Okay, Yoga Ruruksha means he is very neophyte to this Astanga Yoga. He must work. Okay, he must work. But because he is not detached, pure or advanced. For us, right? We are not pure that if I chant, we directly chant Shuddha Nama. It's not possible for us. We are all in Nama Parada stage, right? Or we are doing devotional service in a very neophyte way. we are not that pure. He must cultivate detachment from the fruitive results. Okay, he has to work, but the fruits, he should not be attached to the fruits. Practice part-time asanas and perhaps pranayama while engaging in karma yoga. So here for Astanga Yogi, it is given that you should practice part-time asanas and perhaps pranayama while engaging in karma yoga. It is for who follows the Astanga Yoga, right? So it's like a baby step, one by one. You're trying to stand on your legs. You're not yet standing on your legs. And now he says about yoga ruda. He's advanced. Okay, does not act for sense gratification. Now he's already achieved that stage. Now he's going furthermore. He's not attached to the sense gratification, does not engage in the fruitive acts. He renounces all material desires, permitted to quit prescribed duties. Okay, he's permitted to quit because he has already attained that stage. Nishkama karma yoga can be given up, and then practice of yoga full time, has full knowledge. Okay, this is for Astanga yogas. But preferably, if we see Astanga yoga, to do Astanga yoga, your mind and senses should be controlled, and it is not very easy to control, right? In this Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna says, "Chanchalam hi mana Krishna." He says, my mind is so it's so turbulent. My mind is so turbulent, I cannot fix it on one thing. We get normally distracted here and there because mind is too much attracted to the material sense pleasure. We get distracted from the spiritual path. So there is a there is a chance of fall down, right? Okay, so next is 6.5. One must deliver himself with the help of the mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul, and he is the enemy as well. So the shloka says that, okay, here the shloka says that the mind, you should use your mind so that you can get delivered. Here, wherever the atma is there, the meaning is that it's a mind. So it says that the mind, it should be used for the higher purpose and not degrade yourself. And the mind is the friend of the condition. It becomes a friend of conditioned soul and also the enemy as well. So can anybody tell me how the mind acts as a friend and enemy? Why we are saying that? When is our mind a friend and when is our mind an enemy? Hare Krishna. Yes, Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Sudha Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah.
One who
Mataji, you're muted.
The mind is his best friend and the mind is conquered by him.
I could not understand, Mataji. Yeah. Tell me again.
And the mind is one who has conquered his mind is the best
Yeah,
friend.
controlled mind. You mean to
Yeah.
say conquered? One has conquered the minds or distraction. He is a friend. That mind is a friend, right?
Yeah.
And then one who who has not conquered the mind's distraction, the mind becomes enemy of him, right? The controlled mind and uncontrolled mind. So controlled mind, it always acts as a friend to you, and uncontrolled mind, it just disturbs you every time. For one who has conquered the mind is the best friend, and for one who has failed to do, mind will remain the greatest enemy. Okay, so we can take the example, the two main characters of Mahabharata, right? Which are the two main characters of Mahabharata? The two kings who wanted to become the kings, right? The Yudhishthira and the Dhritarashtra. The Yudhishthira and Dhritarashtra not Dhritarashtra, sorry, Duryodhana, sorry, and Yudhishthira and Duryodhana, these two people, they wanted to become the uh, because of them, I think so, they were the two leads of the two army, right? And Duryodhana desperately wanted to become the king of Hastinapura. So here we can understand why Duryodhana was always in distress. He had everything, right? uh, Normally we people, we aspire for luxury, we aspire for followers, we aspire for big kingdom, or our place, uh, this is my place, everybody want to tell that. Or he wants some big car, bungalow, luxury items, a good wife, children's, or followers, good people who suggest him every time. And Duryodhana had what not, he had everything, he had more than what he required, right? And in the part of Yudhishthira, he did not have his own followers, or he did not have his own home also. When Krishna went to ask Duryodhana on behalf of Yudhishthir and Pandavas, just give them 5 villages, Duryodhana said, I don't want to give even a needle point, not even that much of land I want to give. So Yudhishthira had nothing in his part. He was always disturbed by Duryodhana and whatnot. His brothers were tried to kill. His home was about to get burnt. It almost burned, and their life was every day in a risk. And they did not have their father in their side, and they just did not have anything as far as the material concept we see. But Duryodhana had everything. But Duryodhana was always in distress, and Yudhishthira was always in, what you tell, his mind was never disturbed. He was always in a peace. Why is it? Because Duryodhana had uncontrollable mind. His mind was not at all controlled by and his senses were not controlled. But Yudhishthira, he had controlled mind, and his mind was always a friend. Whatever bad happened, the mind turned it into the good. It saw the positive side of the problems. The mind, because why is the mind controlled here? Because the mind was surrendered to Krishna. But Duryodhana, he had the uncontrollable mind and always was worried and everything. And he had everything, but he did not have the peace. He could not sleep in the night. It was so disturbing to him. But in the part of Yudhishthira and Pandavas, their mind was always in the peace mode, because they were serving Lord Krishna in whatever form they could, right? So their mind and senses were controlled, and Duryodhana's mind was not controlled. Because of that, the depression or the distraction was constantly there. And then in Srimad Bhagavatam, we see the Prahlad Maharaj, the Hiranyakashipu, he was searching for the enemy all over the world, the 3 worlds, and everywhere he was searching, where is my enemy? Where is my enemy? And Prahlad Maharaj said to Hiranyakashipu, my dear father, enemy is not outside, enemy is inside, and he's the greatest enemy, and that is your own mind. Your own mind is trying to make you convinced that Lord Hari is your enemy, but he's not. He is Surudam Sarvabhutanam, he is the well-wisher, but your mind is not controlled. Because of that, you're thinking that Lord is enemy of you, but he's not. So here we can understand that one who controls the mind, it becomes a best friend of him. And for one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a person, a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. A person is said to be established in the self-realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by the virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in the transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it is a pebble, stone, or a gold, as the same. So what does Krishna says here? A person who is in the stage of self-realization, he sees everything in the same vision. right? Pandita Samadarshina. Last class we learned in the 5.18 that Pandita Samadarshina, a learned person, he sees everyone in an equal vision. So here, this is Pundarik Vidyanidhi. This story comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and he is the father of Radharani when in the Dwapar Yuga, or we can say eternally he was the father of Radharani. The Vrishabhanu Maharaj, and when he came as a for the pastime of this Chaitanya Leela, he became Pundarik Vidyanidhi. He was a rich man. When we see him outside, we feel him as a very rich person. He had everything. But then he was constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came there to see him, he thought he is a materialistic person, because the garment, the seat which he had sat, and then the way he was walking and everything, he was a very rich person. He was like almost a king. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he said one shloka from Bhagavatam, the person who was well dressed and everything, he rolled to the ground and was showing ecstatic symptoms of pure devotion towards the Lord. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could immediately identify that he's a pure devotee, because he was a great yogi, because he was already connected to the Supreme Lord. Okay, so anybody knows who is this? Yes? Who is this and what is happening here? No one knows? Yes, Meenakshi Mataji. Okay.
Vijay Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Is this Durvasa? Durvasa Muni?
Oh, this one?
Durvasa
Yes.
Muni. Huh?
Is Durvasa Muni. Yes, yes. So what is happening here? Who is here?
Ambarish Maharaj.
Yes. Yes. What is happening here? What is he trying to do here?
He is trying to destroy the Ambarish.
Yes. So, yeah, it's a very good story from Bhagavatam, that Ambarish Maharaj, about Ambarish Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji, Hare Krishna. So, yeah, so he is Ambarish Maharaj, and this is Durvasa Muni. So Ambarish Maharaj is a very king. He is a very brilliant king, very rich king, and he had a whole kingdom on his side. And Durvasa Muni, he was a materialistic from outside. If you see, a king is always a materialistic person. If you see from outside, right, he has all kind of jewels and royal dress, garments and everything. He looks very materialistic. Here on the other part, Durvasa Muni, he is a great renounced person or sage, yogi, who had done all kind of austerities and everything, but he could not control the anger. When he could not control the anger, how much ever you try to control the senses, it won't get controlled until you are attaching yourself to Krishna. He was trying to control his anger. Durvasa Muni is known for his anger, if you see, right? When this is a big story, I think so you can read it somewhere in the Bhagavatam. So Durvasa Muni and Ambarish Maharaj. So Durvasa Muni was keeping Ekadashi, and Durvasa Muni, and Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni both were keeping Ekadashi. But when the Parayana time came, Durvasa Muni just went for taking bath. If we don't break our fast on the Parayana time, the Ekadashi fast, it won't give you the phala of that, or it won't considered as a devotional service, or it won't be considered for the Lord. So Ambarish Maharaj was very much what to do now, and the sages suggested that you had a Nirjal Ekadashi, so you can just drink the water. And Durvasa Muni, he knew everything. It was his plan to go out at the time of Parayana and then to check Ambarish Maharaj if he is really a great devotee. So when Durvasa Muni returned from his bath, and then when he saw that Ambarish Maharaj had already taken water, he was angry, because he was telling that without me, you should not break your parayana, because it will be an insult for the great yogi or sage. But then Amrish Maharaj, he said that, I'm sorry, because I had to break my fast at the time of Parayana, or else it won't be considered. So I had to do this, and I did not eat anything. So it is half broken, but it is broken. But it is, we can consider it as a half broken, and we can eat some cereals now together. So, but then Durvasa Muni was very much angry on Amrish Maharaj and wanted to um, harm him, and he thought of creating a demon and harm him. And at that moment only, Lord, who is always want to serve his pure devotees, he tried to, he sent the Sudarshana Chakra and killed that demon. And now the Sudarshan Chakra is behind Durvasa Muni, because he offended the great devotee. So now the Sudarshan Chakra was behind Durvasa Muni, and he ran to Brahma. And then Brahma said, I cannot stop this. Then he went to Shiva. Shiva told, I cannot stop this because it's order from Lord Hari. So then he went to Lord Hari, who is Vishnu, and he fell at his feet. And Lord Hari was like, I cannot do anything because I am under the control of this devotee. So you have to ask forgiveness from the devotee. And then then he went and fell at the feet of Ambrish Maharaj, and then the Sudarshan Chakra went back to its normal stage. And this is how we can understand that the Ambrish Maharaj, he is not a normal yogi or something. He is a king. Maharaj, he is a king. But then Durvasa Muni, he is a sage. So we can see the difference here, right? So one who has controlled senses, and one who is already a person is considered still further advanced when he regards the honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactor, the neutral meditator, the envious friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all are in the equal mind. Okay, so there are 6 enemies for this mind. So what is it? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, right? The Kama, Mada, Moha, the illusion, the Mada, intoxication, madness, the Kama, lust, the Krodha, anger, Lobha, greed, Matsarya, envy. Of this all, we face this Krodha every day, right? We cannot control our anger at all. So one who established in the self-realization by the virtue of knowledge and virtue of knowledge and self-realization. So he sees the stone, pebble, and the gold as equal. So he sees, like Durvasa Muni, like Amrish Maharaj, he forgave the great sage, and also he saw everybody in the equal vision. So section 3. So should we take it today or tomorrow? Is it late for you all?
Mataji, I think we can take section 3.
Is it okay? Okay. Okay. Now the main part of the chapter comes. It is the Astanga Yoga. Okay. Further stages in the practice of yoga. Krishna describes the practice of Astanga Yoga, the result of Yoga Rudha, the perfectional stage, and the ultimate vision of the super soul. Okay, so in the sadhana bhakti, the yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So in our normal day, we take this, right? These asana, niyama, yama, pranayama, they are very easy, but no one speaks about samadhi, because the Astanga Yoga, most of them think that Astanga Yoga is just 8 kind of asanas, but no, asana is one of the thing in that. There are 8 stages, and ultimately it's samadhi, and it's impossible for a person in this age to do this work, because to go to samadhi, your mind and senses to be controlled, right? So what not we do in the name of yoga, right? Pregnancy yoga, that yoga, this yoga, the mental and physical health, the chair yoga, many of these yogas, and these babas we can see everywhere, right? beer yoga, office yoga, and every whatnot we see in this material world in the name of yoga. So what does yoga actually mean here? So 8, Asta means 8, Anga means limbs, and yoga means connection. So 8-limbed connection, 8-fold yoga. Okay, so what is the yama? The external disciplines. Okay, so the external disciplines. Next, niyama, the internal disciplines. Asana, the postures, meditation seat. And pranayama, control your breath. And then pratyahara, withdraw all the senses. Then dharana, concentrate. And then dhyana, meditative absorption. And then samadhi, union or integration towards the Lord. Okay, so here the yogi, you can see the picture, right, about the Astanga Yoga. So what is yama? He should live. So Krishna now starts to explain about the Astanga Yoga. He should live alone in the scheduled place and should always carefully control his mind. Then the temperate in his habits of eating, sleeping, working, and recreation. And then, so here it is actually said, you should live alone. So how many of you can live alone in the dark jungle of, tigers and so harmful insects and everything? So it's impossible, right? All of us are having some kids in home. We are all grahastas. We have parents, or you are also a parent. You have kids. You are a spouse. You have a husband or you have a wife. So it's normally we cannot live alone in the scheduled place. That also in a scheduled place, in a kind of tirtha sthala, we say, right? Pilgrimage places, and control our mind. So first stages itself is gone for us. We cannot do this. Okay, let's see the next stage. You should temperate his. So he should regulate his eating, sleeping, working, and recreation. So it's near to impossible, right? How many of you before this can control your? You should control your sleep, recreation, working, eating, and then we all have some kind of habits. We cannot leave those habits, right? And then in the 6.11 to 14, Krishna says he should lay in a kusha grass. That means a grass, a pure kind of a kusha grass, and then on the ground, and then cover it with a deer skin. So where will you find a deer skin now? And then the seat should neither too high nor too low. And then one should be situated in the sacred place. Again, the sacred place, right? The pilgrimage place. So first of all, you have to find a very clean kusha grass, and then you have to find a deer skin, and then you have to, it should not be too high, not too low. It should be in a very static position. It should not go here and there. And then it should be in a sacred place. Now, your body, neck, head should be erect in the straight line. Stare steadily at the tip of the nose, thus with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, okay, completely free from sex life, and one should meditate upon me. So now Krishna says that you should keep your body erect and control your mind and everything, and then you should meditate upon me. Practice stopping the moment and of outgoing breath into the incoming, and incoming, that is pranayama, right? Remain in trance. Next, pratyahara, cessation of the material existence. Then discipline his mental activities and become situated in the trance, then devoid of all the material desires. He is said to have attained yoga. Then dhyana, as a lamp in the windless place, does not waver. So the transcendentalist whose mind is controlled, they may always study in his meditation on the transcendental self. Then ultimately the samadhi, one who is never shaken even in the midst of the greatest difficulty, is indeed this indeed is a actual freedom from all the miseries arising from the material contacts. Okay, ultimately the samadhi. So here you can see this person, right? From the top of his head, this part of the head, the soul leaves. So we can see the star, right? The soul leaves, and it is almost midnight, and the yogis know what is the perfect time to leave the body, and they come to know. And it's very dark everywhere, and he just through Astanga Yoga, he leaves his body through this point, and the soul just goes up. Okay, it breaks the head and it goes out. So that is how the Astanga Yoga, and most of the yogis, they try to do this. So-called yoga centers and so-called spiritual organization, they do this called so-called Astanga Yoga, but there is no Krishna in it. So ultimately it should lead to Bhakti Yoga here, right? The Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Astanga Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. This is a ladder. All yogas are progression towards the destination of Bhakti Yoga. Through Astanga Yoga, when you see the Supreme Lord in your heart and you leave the body remembering the Lord, and then it is Bhakti Yoga. So now we need not struggle with Astanga Yoga, because already we know the shortcut of Bhakti Yoga just by chanting and doing devotional service, and with the association of the devotees, we can go back to the Godhead. Right? There is no possibility of one's becoming yogi. Or Arjuna, if one eats too much or eats too less, sleeps too much or do not sleep enough. So if your eating is not in your control, so in the Nectar of Instruction, if you study in the later books, the Nectar of Instruction, it says about pratyahara prayasyascha prajalpo niyamagraha. So pratyahara means overeating. It speaks about 6 kind of activities that would destroy your bhakti or devotional service. Okay, the first one is the eating too much, or too much of consuming things. It is very bad for doing devotional service. So here Krishna says, one who eats too much, he cannot concentrate. If he eats too much, it becomes unhealthy. He becomes unhealthy. If he eats too less, also becomes unhealthy. He becomes weak and cannot do the devotional service. If he sleeps too much, or he cannot get up for Mangalarti, or he cannot sleeps too much, more than the time required for your body. If you sleep, then it's your devotional service is not counted. And then if you do not sleep or sleep enough, your certain time is there, and you are not sleeping, then also your devotional service is not done. So one who sleeps in too much, he is in the mode of tamoguna, or mode of ignorance. And one who does not sleep, he is in the mode of rajoguna, or mode of passion, right? A business person or a person who is doing jobs and everything, he has no enough sleep. And here also, he eats too less, means that he is in the mode of rajoguna, because he does not get time to eat, or he is not concentrating on his health. That means he is constantly doing some materialistic activities. And even the tamoguna, when you eat too much or too much sleep, is also bad. So always remain in sattva-guna, means regulated way of life. Okay, one should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with discrimination and faith, and not to deviate from the path. One should not abandon without exceptions all material desires born out of mental speculations, and thus control all the senses and side by the mind. Okay, gradually, step by step, one should become situated in the trance by the means of intelligence, situated by full convictions, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. From wherever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Right? Our mind is like a monkey. So monkey cannot sit in one place. It's not impossible for the monkey to sit in one place and concentrate. Our mind is also same. Either it jumps to the past, either it jumps to the future. It does not stay in the present, not at all. Either it will think, what will I do tomorrow? Or either it will think, what I have done in my past, or what I have done in my just a few seconds back, right? It does not stay in the same position for much time, not even for a 1 minute. You cannot concentrate on what you're doing, right? Even while you are chanting, either the mind goes to the future, or it thinks something else, or it just reminds you about your past. You cannot concentrate all 108 times on the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. It just goes here and it's flickering. So we have to bring that mind back in the stable position. As much as time we should bring it into the present moment. It cannot be in the present moment. It's very difficult for the mind. So now the yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of the transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes that the qualitative identity of the Supreme, and thus he is free from the all reaction of the past. Thus the self-controlled yogi constantly engages in the yoga practice, becomes free from the all material contamination, and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. And then the true yogi observes me in all the being and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me and same the Supreme Lord everywhere, right? For one who sees me in everywhere and see the ultimate connection is here is that self-realized person sees the Lord in everyone, or everyone is connected to the Lord. The material desire comes when we disconnect that particular thing from the Lord. When the particular thing or a particular person you see is in connection with Krishna, the desire for the material sense gratification does not come. Okay, such a yogi who engages in this worshipful service to the super soul, knowing that I and the super soul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. And he is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all the being. He in this in both their happiness and the distress, O Arjuna. So now Krishna says that ultimately the yogi he will always see everybody in connection to the Supreme Lord, and he sees everybody in the equality, even in the happiness and the distress, right? Samadarshina, like everywhere he's seeing in a constant position that he's neither na shochati na kankshati, right? He is neither very feeling very bad for he feels compassionate, but he is never expressing the distress, or neither he is happy for the benefits, neither he is distressed for what he has lost. So this is for tomorrow's section. So till here we understood about the 3 sections of this chapter, 6th chapter. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thanks to all for cooperating for the extra time in the class, and I hope everybody has filled the attendance form. If not, please fill your attendance form. Now you can raise your hands for your queries. Mataji will take one by one. Okay? Please raise your hands if you have any queries or questions. Mataji, I think nobody has any queries or questions.
Okay.
He's so well today.
Okay. Usha Mataji has come up with something.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Usha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I have one doubt. When we are in deep sorrow, even unable to remember God's name, because by surrendering only we can get rid of the sin, sorrow. We are in deep sorrow, that thought is also not coming to us. So what to do, Mataji?
It's initially we cannot do this, Mataji. It's just by the practice and Hare Krishna. Okay. Yeah, just by the practice and you can remember. That's why we say, chant the holy name of the Lord. Mostly people, they do not remember the Lord because we all are in the forgetful mood. We don't remember Lord very easily. So we tend to forget. But then it's very difficult to remember Krishna initially. But then chanting and doing some devotional service and constantly chanting. So it is said, right? What you think, it happens, right? So constantly thinking of Krishna can make the way easy for remembering Krishna also. Even at the time of death, it's very difficult to remember Krishna because it is said that at the time of death, it's 100 scorpions biting to us.
Yes.
So the pain, right? At that time, it's very difficult to remember Krishna without practice, right? Without, right? You cannot go to the examination and studying for 5 minutes before examination. It's ridiculous, right? You cannot do that. Similarly, our devotional service and the death is already an exam, right? It's a very big exam. So it depends. The result comes that if you remember Krishna at that time, you will at least you should at least remember Krishna at that time.
Yes.
So that you can
practice.
Practice is very much required. So we say that do devotional service, chant the holy names, and with that you should do some devotional service also with that.
Yes. But is it our karma also that at times we don't remember really? By surrendering we can get rid of this sorrow. Even that thought also doesn't come. Even that is our part of our karma, Mataji.
Sometimes it happens that Krishna says, apohanam cha, I'm the forgetfulness. Krishna itself, you cannot cheat Krishna, right? I'll do all the sinful activities, and at the time of death, I'll remember Krishna. So you have done all the bad karmas, and then at the time of sorrow and at the time of death, you will try to remember Krishna. So Krishna is also very intelligent. He knows how to play with you. So he is also, I'll just forget my name from your mind. That's it. So he also tricks you if you try to trick him. So Krishna is a playful boy, right? He likes to play.
But sometimes we blame him. तुमने मुझे क्यों नहीं याद दिलाया तुम्हारा नाम? हम तो तुम्हारे ही है.
But he checks, he constantly checks, and sometimes Maya also does her part. Because Krishna never takes us, like whatever we are suffering, normally in the initial stage we think whatever suffering is given, it is given by Krishna, but we are qualified to get exam directly from Krishna. We are not qualified for Krishna to come here and give us exam.
Our past actions,
First karma, it acts according to that. Second is Maya also. She also works on it. And then ultimately when we pass the karma examination and then from Maya's examination, then the final examination is from Krishna. So Krishna takes final examination. It's not initially. So this is how the stages of examination we can tell.
Yes, I understand. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anyone else is giving the question or any query? And please ignore that link which I have posted. I have posted it by mistake as it was copied on my clipboard. Okay, Meenakshi Mataji. Hare Krishna Meenakshi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Sri Lakshmi Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, this is regarding the response sheet. We have received only 13. Kindly please submit your attendance form, Prabhujis and Matajis. It will be helpful for us to actually go through your queries, and also it is helpful on the other way around that you will be able to join L3. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, I made you the course, Mataji. Yeah. Yeah, who is this? Momita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Momita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So, I had a question, that how we can control our anger, little things we get. I think a lot of time I should not, this is wrong. I should control my anger. Like I have small kids. Yeah. Sometimes I know it's wrong. I should control, my anger. It's the biggest, क्या कहते हैं ना उसे बाधा in your devotional service. Still we get angry. How we can
controlling anger, it's one of the enemy of the mind, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I muted you, I guess. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's one of the biggest problem in controlling our mind, because our mind is so uncontrollable. So anger is also one of the part that even Durvasa Muni also used his anger, right, to, I think so some problem is there in the mic system. I'll mute you and later I'll unmute you, okay? Yeah, so Durvasa Muni also used his anger on the pure devotee, and what happened there, right? So Krishna says the anger, it can be used in the service of the Lord also. In one part, right? What Hanuman did, he burned the whole Lanka with anger, right? Anger can be used as a alternative also for devotional service. But what anger we are getting is from the material distresses we are facing through, right? So that anger can be controlled always. It's because of we are attached to something and we are not getting it. Because of that we are getting angry. A mother gets angry on a child because she cares on, and because of the anger she cares the child. But then too much anger, that means some attachment is there towards your own sense gratification also, right? So about that is also there. So anger, it can be used for Krishna's service ultimately. Okay. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah, I know. I have already overcome my this thing, and but still there is some anger. I know it comes. I know it's very wrong. Still,
it's not wrong. Everybody faces that anger.
Like kids, they are not studying sometimes. I know we should behave very properly with them. I also make them, understand about Krishna, say stories about them. I'm trying my best, but still I get angry. I have this problem. So I'm trying my best. So I wanted to know if there is any more options that we can control.
Yes, Mataji, always try to remember Krishna when you get angry, or just chant. I used to chant. Even my anger was very uncontrollable initially. I used to get angry, but then now whenever I get angry, I just chant the holy names, and just then, because angry, one thing is that anger just increases when you think that thing constantly, about that thing. But then I just divert my mind from that whole thing, and then just chant the holy names, or do some reading of the books and some other kind of a thing, activities of devotional service that would help me from diverting my mind from the things that adds agitating my anger to come out.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So yes, any more
Mataji,
questions?
still we are, Momita Mataji, still we are all on the path of self-healing. So be focused in Krishna consciousness and have faith in Lord Krishna.
Yes, Sumita Mataji.
So Mataji, there are no questions, no hand raises and no questions in the chats. All of them, I hope all of them filled the attendance sheet.
Yes.
Have you all filled the attendance sheet? Okay, they have filled the attendance sheet. Yes, Mataji.
Yes. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anant koti Vaishnav Vrindi ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. I'll just end this.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna everyone.
Hare Krishna everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.